children that Jews bake cookies with their blood.
منيح. أصلاً نحن في عنا مهمة للقيادة ولازم ننفذها بسرعة. إيه؟ شو هي؟
This is a scene from the television series Al-Shatat. It was broadcast on satellite TV stations that reach hundreds of millions of viewers.
اسمع، بدنا دم طفل مسيحي قبل الفصح مشان الفطير. شالوم، هذا شافكم؟ لا. متأكد؟ طبعا. معناتها خلينا نبدأ فورا.
متى؟ ندوق على البيت.
تكرم حبيبي. بعد شوي بنروح.
Throughout the Middle Ages, there was this libel that the Jews needed blood of a Christian child to make matzah. Now, of course, today the world knows this is totally libelous accusation, no connection to truth at all. Yet the Al-Shatat film was able to include a video depiction of this ancient blood libel as if this is real Jewish ideology.
There is no shame in Arab media, in the degree they are ready to cover hate speech and lies, outright lies against the Western Israel.
التي تصنع الفطير من دم الأطفال الأبرياء.
The ironic thing about this whole thing is that if you look at reality, you can see what we accused the Jews of doing. We carried it out literally.
فالقتل في سبيل الله أشهى أمانيهم والإفخار في جنودك وحلفائك من أسعد لحظاتهم وحز رؤوس الكفرة المجرمين تطبيق لأمر ربنا.
Cameras are there for the whole world to see it, but the world refuses to see.
Shalom. فصح مجيد.
When I see films like Shatat or broadcast during Ramadan, I see a recurring theme. I don't see anything new, in fact. I see attacks against Jews. I see an attempt to depict Jews as bloodthirsty, people as murderers, as a people who would sacrifice Christian children to drink their blood during their holiday.
حبيت ذوقك فطير الفصح المقدس. شكرا. كيف شفتها مطيبة؟
عادي مثل الفطاير الدنيا.
لا تغلط. هي ألذ وأقدس. لأنه معجون بدم نقي. دم جزء.
What is significant is not just the film, but the time in which it was shown. Ramadan is a time when people will look at the TV because it is a month in which Muslims traditionally think there's a lot of blessing and there's a lot of religious education going around. So when you choose that month to show a particular film that is anti-Semitic, you are grabbing an almost captive audience.
And it just shows you how dangerous propaganda could be. How could you possibly believe this in the 21st century? How could you possibly believe this? And yet, they believe it because of the incessant propaganda.
If you would have asked me when I was 6 years old, who are the worst people on the face of this earth, my answer would have been they're Jews. They ought to be killed.
إسرائيل هي عدونا. هذا كيان غاصب غير قانوني غير شرعي ولا مستقبل له في أرضنا ومصيره يعبر عنه دمنا والشعار الموت لإسرائيل.
almost the first people who applauded Hitler's rise to power were the Arabs.
The Nazis and the Islamists share a common conspiracy theory. The Jews control America, for example. This is the way that it is portrayed day in, day out in the Arab media.
مخطئ من ظن بأن أمريكا هي التي تتحكم في إسرائيل وقراراتها، إسرائيل المزعومة، لا، بل إن الصهيونية العالمية هي التي تحرك القرار الأمريكي على الريموت كنترول.
If you believe all that, then you are engaged in a war of survival for your very existence.
نواجه معركة أكبر بكثير مما تتصورون. إننا نواجه معركة مع الصليبية، نواجه معركة مع الصهيونية العالمية.
And in that sense, it's identical to Nazi propaganda. This is a war of propaganda in which the same techniques of subversion that we saw earlier in the challenge posed by fascism and Nazism are repeating themselves.
The propaganda of Islam is very similar to the propaganda of Nazism. It's the same hate speech, paranoia, and us against them.
Here is a critical point that is generally overlooked. The anti-Semitism of the Nazis had a great appeal already in the mid-1930s to many Arab nationalists and Islamic fundamentalists.
From the mid-30s, from 1936 on, Hitler and his propaganda sections made a great effort to win over the Arab peoples of the Middle East.
We see that the undisputed leader of the Palestinian Arab national movement of the 1920s, 1930s and 40s, Haj Amin al-Husseini, the Mufti of Jerusalem, was a fervent admirer of Adolf Hitler.
The Mufti was one of the founders of the radical Islamic movement, and Hitler saw at once that this man not only could serve his purpose, but wanted to serve his purpose.
There is a very important meeting between Hitler and the Mufti of Jerusalem on the 28th of November 1941, of which we have a full protocol. And what Hitler explains is that this is first and foremost a war of extermination against Jewry. And he tells him to lock this secret in his heart. He is revealing it to the Mufti. It's extraordinary he should choose the leader of the Palestinian Arab National Movement for this revelation, which is in an official German document.
It seemed strange to us that a Mufti who was not a pure Aryan was being received by Hitler. But they said, no, we have the same goal, which is the extermination of the Jews.
The Mufti was sent to the Balkans, where he raised a Bosnian Muslim SS division.
He had several SS divisions, the Handschar division, for example, where they had nominally Croatian officers, but the rank and file of the unit were entirely Muslim, Arab Muslims, and they were bringing them in from all over the world.
I was utterly astonished that the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem had raised a Panzer division of Bosnian Muslims to fight along the Waffen-SS. The fanatic Muslim world and Hitler both agreed that no ideology can exist beyond theirs. It's all-encompassing.
A secular dogma like Nazism is less dangerous than this Islamofascism that we see today. It's less dangerous because Islamofascism has a religious twist to it. It says God the Almighty ordered you to do this, not the Führer, you know? So it is way more dangerous. It's trying to grow itself in 55 Muslim states. So potentially, you could have a success rate of several Nazi Germanys if these people get their way.
Hitler's gone and dead. The German people are not the Nazis of 1944, but the Muslims have never wavered in their goal,